I've gotten quite a few interesting questions when it comes to this transitioning journey of mine, so I want to make a video covering all of these questions, and this is that video. My name used to be Erik, and my new name is Luna. I see myself as a trans woman. I recently came out about wanting to start this transition, and it's very, very fresh. I'm gonna do my best to answer some of your questions. So the first one is, how can I be so sure that I want to be a woman? From my point of view, I'm just allowing myself to be the natural expression that I want to be. Because every time I try to explain it, it just feels like I'm excusing myself or trying to justify myself in some way. That doesn't always feel so good. And with good reason, I think, because I'm not being very honest when I do that. And it's not really important for me that everyone else agrees with me that this is a good idea for me. I don't feel like I need to justify myself to anyone. This is truly what I want. And the question is, why do I want it? So the main reason why I want to go into this transition is because it feels right to me. And what do I mean when I say it feels right to me? I mean that when I'm pursuing this path, I feel alive. I feel like I'm embracing myself. I feel like I'm becoming more whole or complete. I feel like I'm doing something that gives me energy and life source, It feels like it's life-giving when I do this, when I lean into this. And when I hear the question, what is it that makes me want to be a woman? That's not really the essence of why I'm doing this. Yes, I would like to be viewed as a woman. My whole life I've been jealous of women in so many different ways. Even pregnancy, I wish truly, and I've wished this for a very long time, that I could get pregnant, and that's obviously not possible, at least not currently, but it doesn't seem impossible forever. Like in a near future, it might actually be possible for men to carry a child and give birth to a child. But that's a whole different topic. If that would be possible today, I would probably go for it. It isn't. So that's that. It just is what it is. And that's okay. Yeah, I remember, for example, I had a partnership for about 4 years. We were engaged because we had the children conversation a couple of times. And I remember so many times that I so wanted to be the one to carry the child. And I so wanted to be the one to stay at home and take care of this child, that I wanted to have that role of a mother. And because I was bullied quite a bit when I was young, and my family has been a little bit traditional, at least on my father's side. I never really felt safe to truly express these parts of me when I was younger. And I guess that's why it's coming out now, because I already spent about 6 or 7 years now really doing a lot of deep inner work, doing a lot of emotional work. Went and seen therapists and psychologists and facilitators and workshops of all kinds. That has really helped me find a lot more courage to be who I am and to express myself freely in the world. I went from really caring about what everyone thinks about me to I don't let that affect me. It's probably a bit optimistic to say I don't get affected at all, but I definitely do not get affected by other people's opinion to the same degree. I now know the fact that everyone's reactions is more a reflection of who they are than who I am. And with that embodiment comes a lot of freedom of how I express myself in the world. This is the result of all the steps I've taken in my life. It has gotten me here. And I'm not making this choice on a whim. I have wanted to express myself more femininely my whole life. Now I'm stepping into it. I have no idea where I'm going to end up because I'm still exploring this in so many ways. This is completely new to me. Just a week after I decided, I started sharing it online with you. Even though the time between me allowing myself to consider this path to me deciding to walk this path was just a week's time. I've spent my whole life trying to figure this whole thing out. It's really been with me my whole life. And now it's just really starting to blossom. And I have so many years in front of me where I'm gonna explore this. So back to the question, why am I doing this? Basically, it's about me just following what truly feels alive in me. And the second part of the question was, how can I be so sure? And many people have also voiced their fear of me regretting this choice later in my life. And if I'm going to be completely honest, I have no guarantee that I will never regret any of these decisions I'm making. I have no guarantee that I will sometime in the future regret like making this whole journey public. I have no idea if I'm going to regret doing hormones or surgery. I have no idea. I might regret it. Like I'm completely open to that idea that it might happen. It doesn't seem like it's going to happen from my current perspective, but you know, my perspective can change. I will probably be a completely different person in the future. So it makes sense to me that, you know, that's a real risk. But for some reason, I'm not even scared that I will. Even if I do regret it, then that's fine too. You know, I'm completely at peace with this transformation. So even though I don't know what's going to happen in the future, right now, every fiber of my body tells me that this is the right move for me. That's how I know. Logically speaking, doing a transition is a lot of work. I'm creating a lot of challenges for myself. And despite of that, it still feels right. And I think that's because if I'm not true to my inner self, that is going to create a lot of hardships in my life. Like being depressed is not a funny matter. Facing a lot of challenges physically outside myself in the world, I can handle that. And sometimes that might be really challenging to deal with, and that's okay. But to deny this aliveness, to walk away from what really feels alive and what feels truly right for me, it makes sense that that would put me in a state of depression, at least at some point, and I would much rather face all the challenges of the world than to completely deny my inner self and face inner depression. While the world is happy that I stayed a male because I was born a male, I might be miserable and unhappy on the inside. No, thank you. I would rather just follow what feels alive. I'm not saying that I want you to stop asking questions. I love your questions because they are very helpful. Like, contemplating these questions that I'm getting is actually very useful for my path. I want you to be true to yourself. And if you truly feel some resistance in this and you voice your concern, I see that as you caring about me. I'm very happy to have so many people that cares about me. All right, so that was the first question. How, like, this recording is like 30 minutes in. 30 minutes, wow. All right, the next question is, what's wrong about being a man? I've heard people have an idea of what a man should be, and especially in my partnerships, I've been told by women how I need to behave and how I need to be and what they are looking for in me and blah, 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 blah. And I've spent most of my life trying to fit into that, having this idea of what it means to be a man, and I am so fed up by that. I am so completely fed up of trying to be a man. Trying to be a man, you know, everyone has a different idea of what a man is. And I've also spent the last 5 years or so trying to leave behind and let go of all of those expectations and try to come up with what do I think a man should be. And I've explored that too. And I found a loving way of showing up as a man in this world. And that was a nice phase in my life. I don't think there's anything wrong about any of me that used to be at all. I'm happy bringing many of those personalities or values that I held for such a long time. I'm very happy bringing a lot of those with me because they are really important parts of me. Though the expectations of what a man should be, I am very happy leaving that behind. I do not want to see that again. Maybe I'm just sick and tired of anyone trying to tell me who I need to be or what I need to do. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's not really connected to being a man at all. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong about being a man at all. In fact, I actually really enjoy being around men. Recently, just the past week, I installed a dating app and I've been talking to some men, and I really love when men take that leadership role from me, actually. And by the way, I'm a bit surprised that there's actually a lot of men interested in me as I am already, which is awesome. I'm really having a lot of fun with these dating apps right now. And I haven't really gone to any dates yet, but right now there are several men who wants to take me on a date, so we'll see where it goes. With my prior experience as a man, I'm having so much fun stepping into my feminine, just playing that role. It feels so much more effortless and true to my nature. It really just happens in a sense. I don't need to think about anything. I don't need to plan anything. I don't need to change myself in any way, which is how I felt it when I played the masculine role. But now it just feels very natural. I'm just being me. I don't have any filters. It just happens. That's how I want things to be. It feels so damn good to just be me. Feel that freedom to just express myself naturally. Yes, beautiful. Give me a hint if you want to know more about. I'm probably going to tell you anyway, but I would love to I would love to hear it from you as well. If you find it interesting to hear about my dating experiences, I'm completely in the beginning phase right now. There's probably going to be some interesting stories to tell at some point. So give me a heads up if you want to hear more of that. Anyway, on to the next question. Right, there's a lot of people that really love my, like, the man I've shown up as in life so far. They're saying that, but Erik is such a beautiful man. And to be honest, I really enjoy that man too. But it's actually time for him to retire, at least to some degree. The values that I value, of course, I'm going to take them with me. I might present much more feminine. I'm going to completely stop pretending that I enjoy many of these masculine games, but I'm still me. Ask yourself the question, when you were just a couple of years old, was it someone else in there or was it you? It was you, right? Even though you looked very different. And the same goes for your teenager years. Was it someone else in there or was it you? Of course it was you, right? And when you're old, when you're 80 or 90, let's say, even though you're a completely different person, your body has changed out all the cells, physically speaking, basically a completely different person. Is there going to be someone else in there? No, it's going to be you. And it's the same thing for me, you know? Yes, I'm changing my look. I'm changing the way I interact with people, the way I present myself, the way I behave in the world. I'm just giving up on a lot of old things that I didn't really enjoy. And a new me is being born out of it. Even though all of that is going to change and has already changed, it's still me. You know, it's still me in here. If you're really, really attached to the name Erik, and you're really attached to the way he showed up in your life in a very specific way, if you're really attached to that and you have this story of him in your mind and you really love that story, of course it's going to be a mourning process to know that he's not really here anymore. But I would say that that's a really healthy thing, to let go of these stories in your mind. I mean, I think that's just going to free up more space for you to be you in the world and for you to feel more free and more peaceful. And I would love to be there for you as well in that mourning process. If you want to, feel free to reach out. We can have a talk about it. I would love to do that. You know, I'm also mourning too. What I'm noticing is that the main process of becoming is actually letting go of what has been to make room. At least that seems to be a very important part of it. So I'm mourning too. So I would love to mourn with you. Wow, this is turning out to be quite a long video. So the next question is, are you denying physical and biological reality? So far, I'm just dressing up. So far it might look like defying social norms more than defying my born gender. But I do want to start hormones. So I'm in the process of getting to that point, which, by the way, takes 1 to 2 years. If I could, there's definitely parts of me that really want to start hormones today. I'm actually very attracted to doing surgeries too at some point, even though that's way in the future, but we'll see what happens with time. At that point, when I start to change the body, it doesn't feel like I'm denying or not recognizing my physical and biological reality. I guess I'm defying. Would that be the right word here? To be honest, for many, many years in my life, I've had a vision of humanity in the future where it would be completely normal for humans to change gender and change many more features of how we look very easily. That's how I foresee our more technologically advanced future selves. This is just like an early stage of that. It definitely feels like I am one of the people paving the road towards that kind of future. And I actually feel proud of that. I've always been quite interested in sci-fi and technology. So it makes sense, right? That me having suppressed wanting to be a woman all my life, having this vision for humanity where we are so technologically advanced that, you know, changing gender is like nothing. It's very typical. And for so long, I was hoping that we would get to that sort of advancement within my lifetime so that I could do it, make that change and no one would blink an eye. But instead of waiting for that to happen, I decided to start now and like to meet myself and see the obvious that, hey, obviously I want to be a woman and I want to change my body and I want to present feminine. That's what I want. And I don't need to wait because I've been quite impressed by what's possible already today. So yeah, that's where I am. And I'm guessing that some people would still say that I don't recognize my biological or physical reality, and that's fine. That I'm sort of bypassing my biological reality in some way. And maybe I am. Maybe the only path for us humans is to accept our born state. Or maybe we are more spiritual creatures that are actually designing this whole physical world based on our desires and what we want to experience. And this expression that I'm having right now, that I want to change, my form is just my choice of having a different type of experience. Or maybe I'm just blabbering spiritual mumbo jumbo. What do you think? It does feel kind of obvious to me though that I'm an eternal being. And I don't mean Erik or Luna or this body being eternal. I'm talking about the experiencer behind it all, the I am. Okay, moving on. Is it really about discovering or recognizing that I've always wanted to be a woman? Or is it some kind of social contagion kind of thing going on? I wouldn't call it like something that's contagious. Well, it kind of is contagious, but not in the way you might think. Obviously, I've always wanted to be a woman. That's obvious to me, but I've also obviously felt too shameful about that, so I've been suppressing it. I've been suppressing it to the level where I haven't even been in contact with that part of myself most of my life. It's just been suppressed in my unconscious for so long. It's found ways of expressing itself in a way that wouldn't make me get bullied, in a way that wouldn't make my family notice. I've kept it very secret, and I could have kept it secret for all of my life if it weren't for the fact that a lot of very courageous trans people out there already have paved the road for me to sort of discover and realize that there actually is a path. I can actually do this, and many people have really beautiful lives on the other side. So in that sense, you could call it contagious. It makes more sense to me to say that seeing these courageous people make this jump, this leap, opened up something locked within me that has been laying there for all my life. It's just been waiting for me to feel safe enough to go for it. Oh, this sweater is too hot now. There we go, that's much better. I believe that the world needs strong and alive people, so I will focus on making sure I feel strong and alive. What's gonna make me feel strong and alive is leaning into it and showing up for myself and the people I love and the world in the most open-hearted way I can do. That's what I'm aiming for here. And suppressing this whole journey is definitely not gonna make me strong and alive. That is truly what I believe. I've been sitting here for 1.5 hours. Whoa, my voice dropped. My voice dropped a bit. Maybe I've been pushing my voice quite a bit. This is more or less how I'm used to sounding. And since this whole thing is quite new, voice training is also quite new. So I'm still learning how to change my voice, practice all of these muscles. I just need to be patient. Maybe in a year's time or so, it will actually start sounding like a woman's voice. All right, on to the next question. What do I think I'll get from trying to emulate a woman? Do you think you can even achieve true womanhood? This is an interesting question. It's basically a question of what is a woman? Does a woman need to be born a woman to be a woman? That doesn't really make sense to me. But at the same time, I'm not completely sure what really makes a woman. And like one thing I know for sure is I will not be able to recreate a fully functional womb and be able to have children. I would like to, but just something we're not there yet. I think we will be there in the future. Will we be there during my lifetime? Probably not. Anyway, the point was, maybe that represents a woman. But then again, there's plenty of women out there who aren't fertile or even who doesn't even have a womb, are they not women because they don't have a womb? You tell me. I would love to pass as a woman to strangers on the street. That matters to me. This whole conversation of what is truly a woman, well, I don't know. It makes more sense to me to ask myself what is feminine. No, not even that. It makes way more sense to me to just be myself, and then I'll let the world decide. I'm fine with that. If the world decides that I'm not a woman, then in the eyes of the world, I am not a woman. At least that's how I'm looking at it right now. But I also have a lot of understanding that, especially now in the early stages of this transition, that people are used to calling me him, people are used to calling me Erik, or my full name, Kjell Erik in Norwegian. I'm not going to go around policing this. Some people want to enforce this. I would much rather live in a society where we have free speech. And that also means that people have the free will to call me a man or to keep calling me Erik if they want to. And that doesn't mean that it's not going to be hurtful. I would like to be called Luna, and I would like to be called she, her. I have no intentions of trying to shame anyone about this or guilt anyone. I'm going to be very forgiving. Of course I am. I mean, all of these lovely people that I have in my life, they're all used to me being Erik, a bald man with beard. That is so weird. It's so weird to look at photos of me being bald and with beard already. And it's just like 1 month ago, I had a beard and I was bald. But already it feels so weird for me to look at those photos. Whew. Do I look like a woman? I would say I look something in between, maybe. I don't know. Like a femboy. Oh, right. So the next question is, do I feel resistance to my manly body? And if I do I think that's really gonna change if I change the exterior of my body? And I think this is a good question. I've been very into spirituality past years. I've been really into I can't change the world, I need to change myself on the inside, which makes all the sense of the world to me. And that actually, it actually really helped me come to terms with having a manly body for many years. There's a lot of things about having a manly body I don't really enjoy, but I've been okay with it in a sense. At least that's what I've been telling myself. I'm not really okay with it, at least not anymore. Even feels like I've never really been okay with it. Sort of just pretended or felt like I had to. I would like for it to be like, I can accept myself the way I am. Do I feel resistance to my own body? Yes, I do. That's the truth. I definitely don't enjoy having a lot of hair on my body. I am rejecting the hair. I am. Why am I doing that? And it's kind of strange because I thought I was accepting my body here. I thought I was accepting my body for such a long time. But now that doesn't feel like the whole truth anymore. It actually feels like I've not fully accepted it. That's just been a story I've been telling myself and others because it's been too scary for me to really face that I actually want to feminize my expression quite a lot. I've actually had trouble with other people's body here too. I think that's like coming from some horrible experiences I had when I was young with some sexual harassment. I've even asked myself, like, is this whole transition thing just a result of that? Some suppressed parts in me that are actually trying to get away from the suppressed memories of those episodes where he did things to me that are not okay. As a child, by the way, that could be the case, which is why I want to work through this with proper therapy. I don't really understand this whole thing, this whole transitioning thing at all. I'm just following what feels free and alive in me. That's the main thing I'm doing. And that could mean that I'm actually going into this and trying to run away from parts in me, trying to run away from these memories that I don't have access to from when I was really young, when I was sexually abused. Blah, 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 blah. It could be, well, to be honest, probably not. But I'm not going to leave any stone unturned, so I'm definitely going to bring this to a psychologist. I've learned that just doing psychotherapy is not really going to be enough. I also want to explore inner family systems and more emotional focused inner work. But I would like to get to the bottom of that, at least just to rule out the potential scenario where I'm about to, change my whole body just because I want to get away from those memories. I would be surprised if that was the only thing going on here, but it would also make sense to some degree. I'm not going to rule it out completely. Yeah, all right, let's take the next question. Why not accept what you already have been given? How do I go into this in a meaningful way? I mean, look at me. I'm posting this on YouTube. I'm walking down the street of Bergen. I would not have been able to be this open about all of this unless I've first accepted the reality of me being born as a man. And by accepting, I don't mean settling. That's very important for me. By accepting, I mean just letting go of it, in a sense that that's just how it is. Now, accepting or allowing or letting go of that fact, just leaving that as the true reality, does not mean I have to stay like that. If I had a lot of negative emotions around it, so insecure about my male body, and I hated my male body, and I would be like, get me out of this. I don't think I would have the courage to put on makeup and walk outside in the street. I don't think I would have the courage to put on the skirt that I did half a year ago or something. I made a video on it. And back then I didn't have any wig or anything. I was bald with beard, but I still put on this very feminine reddish skirt, long skirt. And I went into town it was a festive day. There was a lot of people outside and I just joined the festives. And yes, that was scary, but not in an overwhelming way at all. I felt pretty confident and I had a lot of courage to show up downtown like that. And I think the only way I could do that is because I've already sort of let go of the reality that I was born as a man. I have a man's body. That's how reality is. That doesn't mean that I'm stuck with it. That doesn't mean I have to be in a manly body forever. I believe I have actually accepted my manly body. I've just decided that that's not where I want to stay. There is something else I would like to experience. Next question. Do you feel misunderstood by society through being put into a box or a norm? I've definitely felt misunderstood by other people and society at large many times in my life. I assume that I always will be, at least to some degree, and it would surprise me if anyone has not felt this. I have no idea if that's true or not. Is that some kind of belief system that's not really helping me? Thinking that it's normal to be misunderstood? Is that really normal? I have no idea. But I don't really feel imprisoned. No, I feel very free, but I have felt quite imprisoned earlier in my life. I was bullied quite a bit at school and I didn't know how to handle it. So I was very scared of trying to go outside of any norm. I was trying to fit into a box so that I could stop being bullied. And of course that didn't work. But right now I've definitely sort of broken that pattern. I'm not really trying to fit into any box anymore. And this is the result. This is who I am when I truly just go for what I want, do what I want, feel free to really express myself the way I want to. I have no idea what else to add to that. So I'm just gonna go on to the next question. The last question is, what feels life-giving and supporting to you? That's actually the main question I ask myself all the time, and the whole reason why I'm going through this transition, because this is the most life-giving and supportive and loving way I can show up for myself. Allow myself to naturally be whoever I am. Do I have any more questions? We are at the end. Eloria, God is my light. If you would like to be part of my journey, feel free to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching this video and I love you. I love you. I was gonna say, I wish you a beautiful day, but I can say, I love you too. All right, bye.